Over the weekend, Mackenzie Dern fought at LFA against Catherine Roy, or Catherine Waugh, however she likes to pronounce it. She is a former Golden Gloves boxing champion. It was Mackenzie Dern's third pro fight. Now, prior to the fight, there was some controversy over her. The fight was supposed to be at 115 pounds. Then they changed the contract to 120. Dern still missed 120 initially and had to go back a second time to hit it. In the fight itself, it wasn't exactly the prettiest fight. Dern got the victory. She won the fight on the feet, really, because she wasn't able to get the fight to the ground in the first and third. Was able to get it to the ground in the second, got to mount, had some good positions, almost had a triangle at one point, but never finished. So that puts her at 3-0 right now. And there are a lot of questions as far as, or really even claims, I should say, that Mackenzie Dern could be the next Ronda Rousey in female MMA. As far as her having a very specialized skill set that's going to be really tough for a lot of girls to deal with. And also having the looks. Now, obviously, Mackenzie Dern, I would argue, is more pretty than Ronda Rousey, but that's neither here nor there. I don't believe that Mackenzie Dern is going to become a superstar in MMA, though. I think she can become big. I mean, you look at a girl like Paige Van Zandt, she's not a champion at strawweight. She's become huge. Mackenzie Dern can become really big, too. But as far as being the next Ronda Rousey, that train has passed. So what made Ronda Rousey huge, on top of her attitude that was really polarizing, that you had a lot of girls where it's like, I love her attitude. It's kind of like the strong woman attitude. You know, don't be a do-nothing bitch. She got all that going for her. And plus her fighting style was really good, too. She finished girls really quickly. A couple things Ronda Rousey has had that Mackenzie Dern does not have right now. For one, the competition level is much different now. Girls are getting a lot better. When Ronda Rousey was starting, she was fighting a lot of one-dimensional girls, or girls who were MMA fighters but only trained for a few years. So their few years of training in a few different arts wasn't able to stack up against Ronda's lifetime of judo. And with Ronda's lifetime of judo, what was so effective about her judo abilities, it wasn't that she was just good at the takedown aspects of judo, but she also had the submissions. A problem that Mackenzie Dern has, and it really showed in this Catherine Roy fight, is that Mackenzie's very good on the ground, but she's not the best at taking it to the ground. So for her to be dominant in MMA, she's going to have to be able to take a lot of these girls to the ground who are now better at defending takedowns than they used to be. And really, they're a lot more skilled on the feet than she's going to be. So that's going to be tough for Mackenzie Dern to deal with. And on top of that, even when she gets girls to the ground, she doesn't have one submission that she goes to it right away and she can get the finish immediately. She's very good at a lot of different things, but she's not at a point where she can just wrap everyone up and finish them quickly. She's had a few of her fights go to the ground early, and she hasn't been able to get the finish. She's only won one fight by submission so far. The other two were decisions. She had a Golden Gloves boxer on the ground in the last fight who's nowhere near her in pedigree and jiu-jitsu, wasn't able to get a finish there. So if you're looking at how Mackenzie Dern is going to do against better, whether you're going to look at strawweight, flyweight, even if she moves up to bantamweight, which I don't think she ever will, if she's fortunate enough to be able to get the fight to the ground against a lot of these girls, it doesn't necessarily mean that she's going to be able to finish them. If she can't finish them, then she's going to have to keep taking them down and dominating them until she gets to a point where she can finish them. And the takedown game isn't really there right now. But again, if you're looking at who's at the top, is she going to be able to close the range on Joanna Jędrzejczyk right now? No. Is she going to be able to do that anytime soon? Probably not. Is she going to be able to beat someone like Claudia Gadelha, who isn't as good on the ground, but can still move forward, a really aggressive striker, good striker, and can dominate the position, can keep Mackenzie off her if need be. Again, I don't see her winning a lot of the fights against the top girls at strawweight right now. Now, as far as her making strawweight, that's another question. In jiu-jitsu, she competed around 129. It seems pretty clear that if the UFC had a 125 division, then all these weight cutting issues wouldn't be issues because she'd be fighting at 125 regardless. You'd like to see the UFC open up a 125 division. I think right now we're seeing a lot of interim belts. In a position where WWE is making these interim belts, you'd have to imagine that the idea of just making a real belt at 125 makes a lot of sense, especially since they're going to be the stars there. Now, if you do have a 125-pound division, you're probably going to get Joanna Jędrzejczyk to move up to it. You're probably going to get Valentina Shevchenko to move down. And if these are the top contenders of that division, Claudia Gadelha probably moves down as well. But if these are the top contenders of that division, I don't see any point where Mackenzie Dern's game is going to be good enough to beat them. Obviously, if she gets any of these girls to the ground, she's got a great chance to finish, but can she get them to the ground? Can she improve her game enough to the point where she's eventually able to do so? I don't exactly think so. There are a lot of different ways you can go about jiu-jitsu. There are people who are really good in jiu-jitsu where they get the takedown, they dominate from the top. They're really heavy top players. There are people who play really well off their back. There are people who kind of good at both but don't really specialize in anything. Mackenzie's not the type where she just takes people down and dominates from top. That's more of like a Davi Ramos type, for example, who had fought Sergio Moraes on this card.